Hey everybody, Roman Polnar, how you doing? Coming to you live from Pillar 6 College Planning, and welcome to this week's episode of our Financial Aid Wednesdays, which is a day every week when I take away or take apart, some financial aid topic in effort to help families find more money to pay for college with ease without having to go deep into debt. And this week's topic is as follows: why the middle income class, or why middle income families and higher income families don't get financial aid. But more importantly than the reason why you may not get financial aid is, how do we fix it and actually get financial aid? Because the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of money out there, folks. In fact, I'm willing to guarantee there's money for everybody. It doesn't matter how much money you make, doesn't matter how much money you've got. If you need help paying for college, you can find money. It just really depends on what to do in order to get that money. So, um, if you're a middle income family, or maybe you're a higher income family, you haven't saved enough money for college, you might be wondering if there's any chance of actually getting enough financial aid assistance to pay for school. Maybe you've already heard from friends or some family that you just won't qualify because maybe they said you make too much money and because the financial aid system stinks a bit. And, both of those might be true. And so, like so many other families, you might be getting ready to pay for college with loans. It depends on where your students are. Maybe they're still early on in high school, and maybe that you're just resigning yourself to the thought, like, I'm just going to one day take out loans, and that's how we're going to pay for college. Maybe your student is already closer to college. Maybe they're applying. Maybe they just got accepted. And maybe you're thinking in your own minds, questions like, should we look for student loans under our kids' names? How do they get it? How much can they get? Should we borrow under our name as parents? What are the differences? Which loans are best? How do we get those loans? Look, all the good questions, but are they the right questions? Um, I don't know, because for most families, before you start asking about loans, you should first ask if you can get debt free money first instead. The kind of money that you don't have to borrow and pay back. Because, like I said just a moment ago, even if you think you make too much money to qualify for quote unquote traditional financial aid, there's money out there for everybody. You just have to know where to look. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about on this live cast. But look, if your back is up against the wall and you really need to get loans now, before you sign on the dotted line and commit to some lender for years of debt and interest, I'd say check out our free student loan checklist first. Download it, it's absolutely free. And it's going to help you find the best loans that you should be looking at, and also which loans to absolutely avoid at all costs. If you want that, go to our homepage. We have it up there for free, and it's pillar6college.com. If somebody wouldn't mind putting that into the comments, it's pillar6college.com. In fact, you know what? I'm going to share my screen and show you how to get it. Here's our website. And this is the homepage. That's exactly where you land. And the first thing you're going to see is our checklist. So you can click right here, download a free copy. It's going to talk about student loans for the kids, student loans or parent loans that you can take under your names in different places, and pros and cons of each. So before you take loans, go check that out. It's absolutely free, and it's going to help you find the right loans. And Rob, thanks for putting that on the comments. So you can go ahead and click that link, and it'll take you there. But, all right, what if your back is not up against the wall, which is a good place to be? What if your kids are still earlier on in high school? You may be thinking you make too much money to qualify for financial aid, but listen up, because I'm going to tell you where you might be able to get more money that you don't have to borrow and pay back, because everyone can get money for college. Doesn't matter how much money you make, it just matters where you look. So before we get into that, I do want to tell you first about kind of the most obvious financial aid system that pretty much everybody knows about. Let's call that our traditional financial aid system. The reason why so many middle income families don't qualify for traditional financial aid is because, well, the traditional financial aid system looks at your income in order to qualify. And the main source of making that determination is our government. Like the Department of Education actually has the formulas that they and calculations that they go through in deciding whether or not you qualify for financial aid given your income. And that's the main factor that they use. Now, if you qualify for any of that money, then you're in good shape because it's a lot of money. The government sets aside about $150 billion with a B every single year. Now, about 32 or so billion dollars is in free money, things like grants and scholarships. That's the best kind of money you can get. You don't have to borrow it, you don't have to pay it back. It just is given to your student. You can pay for college. And the rest of, 118 billion or so is in student loans and work study. Now, here's the interesting thing that we observe year after year because loans are growing at a fastest rate of any time in our history. In fact, people are taking out loans 6 times faster than our economy is growing. We're at like $1.7 trillion that we owe to the government collectively. This is between students and their parents. It's the second largest debt category in the US next to mortgages. I mean, we literally owe the government more money than they've ever had. And we keep borrowing more and more and more. And this is all happening while over $2 billion of free money goes unclaimed every single year. You can look back for years. 2 billion, sometimes more, is left unclaimed. This is free money just sitting there. Government set it aside and people are just not grabbing it. Instead, they're going to take loans. Why does this happen? It's crazy. But why? Well, for three reasons. But the main reason is that our government and colleges are conditioning us. They're conditioning you. They're conditioning your student to think that you should pay for college with loans. That's what they want you to think because it's profitable for everybody. Think about it. Like the government is getting interest from you for years. It's income. They're happy to give you more loans. Colleges are happy too because they don't care where the money comes from. And if it's easy for you or your students to get loans, then they're going to get their money and they'll be happy. And never mind that you're going to get stuck with paying for college for years after your kids graduate. Colleges don't care. They get their money today. So they're happy. But the reality is, bottom line and sort of underneath the surface, the government doesn't have enough free money to give to everybody who needs it because college prices have just soared, right? That's the problem. The government initially created the system to bridge a little gap because colleges were not as expensive as they are today. But right now, with the price of colleges where they are, the government doesn't have enough money to give to everybody who needs it to send their kids to school. But there is money. Make no mistake about it. And I'll tell you exactly where you can look for it. Number two, most people, parents and their kids, just don't know what to do. They don't know how to get the free money. And in most cases, people don't really want to work that hard to find it. I hate to offend you. If it offends you, I apologize. But it's true. The reality is that if you spend a little bit of time and focus your energy on getting free money instead of just resigning yourself to borrowing, you'll find it. I promise you. Number three, people start too late. And this is applying to both people as, shouldn't say people as, but it applies to everybody. It applies to you as parents. It applies to your kids as well. Because most people, parents and their kids, start looking for financial aid too late when their kids are already accepted to college with very, very little time to actually find money to pay for it before you have to commit to college and your kids will start college in the fall. So here's the fact. And this is a big if you want and if you need money to pay for your kids' college, I guarantee you can find it. And I'll help you find it. You just need to remember three things. And here are those three things. Number one, you need to potentially look outside the traditional financial aid system because there's money for everybody. But most people only know about one financial aid system. That's what we call the traditional financial aid system, the one that comes from the government. I just went over that. There's a ton of money in it, but it uses your income to qualify you. Or another way to say it is the government uses your income to decide whether or not you qualify. And if your income is above a certain threshold, they don't think you need money, even if you do. And unfortunately, our financial aid system is skewed. And the government thinks that most middle income families around the US don't need help paying for college. They're, they're just out of touch with reality because you do need help paying for college. Because the last time I checked, prices at grocery stores are just skyrocketing. So have gas prices. And our incomes are just not keeping up. So inflation is real. Cost of living is real. Cost of housing is real. And the government doesn't look at any of those factors when determining whether or not you qualify for financial aid. They only look at your income. They ignore your debt. They ignore how much it costs you to live. They ignore how much you have to spend on your kids, schooling. They ignore all of it. They only look at your income. So if your income is above the threshold where the government doesn't think you need the help, well, don't stress about it because you can't change the government's mind. I mean, we're trying, but it's going to take a while. And if your kids are going to college anytime soon, don't place your bets on on the government changing their entire financial aid system in time for your student to begin college. Just focus your energy elsewhere. Look outside the traditional financial aid. Number two, please listen to what I'm telling you. I don't do these Facebook Lives and these live casts for fun. I do it to help you. There's a lot of information here. And you can and you will get money to pay for college no matter how much money you earn, but you need to listen to what I'm telling you or go find somebody else that you prefer to listen to rather than me. But the most important thing after you've listened is you got to take action, and you got to take action now. Now, I underscore now because there's something that you can do at every single year that your student is in high school. And you can't do these things in hindsight. You have to do them when your kids are going through each one of the years if you want to collect that greatest amount of money to help you and your kids pay for college. But don't wait. Don't wait until the last minute, like so many families do, when their kids have already applied to college, and only then start looking for financial aid. By then, you'll still find some, but you're not going to find all the money that you could have found. So, in order to get financial aid for everyone, no matter how much money you make, no matter where your student goes to school, what state you live in, what college they want to go to, if you want to find money for college, you need to do three simple things. I want you to write this down. Number one, you got to understand how our financial aid formula actually works. This is really important. So here it is. This is the formula. COA stands for cost of attendance. That's the total cost of sending your kid to some college for 1 year. It includes tuition, room and board, books, supplies, the whole thing. And colleges are going to look at that number as a whole to see if you qualify for financial aid. But it's not just the cost of college that's important. What's really important is that second number. It's your EFC. That's your expected family contribution. That's what the government and colleges think you can pay for school based on your income. So if you subtract how much they think you should pay for college from the amount that the college costs, you're going to get the amount of need or financial aid, the traditional financial aid that you may be eligible for. So the first thing you need to do is estimate or calculate your expected family contribution. Don't wait until your kids are seniors in high school applying for financial aid. Just estimate it now. So figure it out. And once you figure out your EFC, that's the third step. You can pick your financial aid path. In other words, what's the path that you're going to follow to get more money to pay for college? So here's a cheat sheet. If your expected family contribution is lower than your cost of attendance or the cost of attending some college, then you know you're going to qualify for the traditional financial aid, or at least you're going to qualify for some amount of the traditional financial aid. And if that's you, well, there are three places, three different financial aid systems where you can collect money to pay for college. Number one, the traditional financial aid system. because this will automatically qualify you for some need based financial aid. The other money that you might need to bridge the gap will come from merit money or merit scholarships. That's going to come directly from colleges. And then the third area is to look at tax credits because you'll probably qualify for some credits, tax credits from the IRS. Now, on the other hand, if your expected family contribution number is higher than your cost of attendance, then forget about the traditional financial aid. You got to look outside. There are three places that you should look at to get money. Number one is merit money from colleges directly. Number two are private scholarships outside of colleges. There's a ton of money in that system. And then number three, look at tax savings. You're not going to qualify for tax credits at that point because that means your income is pretty high. You're a higher income family. But if you need help paying for college, there's still a lot of money that you can save and not pay to the government and then recapture that money and just use it to pay for college. So obviously, talk to your accountant, talk to your financial advisor, talk to us if you want us to help. But there's a lot of money out there for everybody. Underscore everybody. If you need money, if you want money to pay for your kids' college, you can find it. Just really depends on what your financial aid path is going to be. So if you're not sure exactly where to start, maybe you don't have time. Maybe you just don't want to do it. I don't blame you. Life is busy, especially this time when you've got kids, going through high school and maybe to college. Life is busy. I get it. If you want some help, we can help you. There are a few things that we can actually help you with depending on where you are in that journey. So if you already applied to college, or I should say, if your student already applied to college, go check out our website. Here, I'll pull it up and I'll show you where to look. As I mentioned earlier, if you need to understand loans, this is our homepage. Go to pillar6college.com, and right there in the front of the page, download the student loan checklist. It's going to help you figure out which loans are best and which ones to avoid. But if you want to try to find free money first, meaning the kind of money you don't have to borrow and later pay back, if your student has already applied to colleges, maybe you're even getting acceptance letters right now. Maybe you're getting financial aid offers right now. But before you take whatever they're offering you, check this out right here. It's a financial aid audit. Just click here to learn more and see if it's right for you. But it's really, really important because before you accept any college's financial aid offer, you want to make sure that they're giving you all the money that they can. And unfortunately, the reality is that most, at least first, financial aid offers are not the best offers and they're not final. You can appeal and negotiate for more money, but you first need to know whether or not the financial aid forms that you submitted were submitted correctly. And if you made any mistakes or any errors, you want to fix them and you want to let colleges know that you caught some mistakes because they're going to need that information to give you more financial aid. And the reality is that almost everybody makes some small error on their financial aid forms that ends up costing them money. In some cases, it's hundreds. In some cases, it's thousands of dollars. So in order for you to get more money from those colleges, you need to make sure that everything is done correctly. So click on financial aid audit if you already applied before accepting any college's financial aid offer. Now, if your student is still younger in high school, they haven't applied to colleges yet, well, you've got more time. You're in a better place in a sense that you can still pull more levers to get more money. Then I want you to look on this side. Check out our financial aid strategy. And you can click here to learn more. And it's going to actually help you figure out what is your financial aid path. And the good news is there's plenty of money. Here are the 4 areas that I mentioned. There's money from the government, money from private scholarships, money from colleges, and there's money from the IRS. And people don't realize how much money there is. The challenge is you have to know which one is going to have money for you and your family and your circumstances, because you can't collect money from all of them. And this strategy call is designed to help you figure out exactly where the money is for your family. So it's a one-on-one call. I'm going to send, if you want this, click on there's a link below so you can get it, and you'll complete an order form. You'll schedule your one-on-one call with me, and I'm going to send you a questionnaire. That's where you're going to put in some basic information about your finances, your student, and which colleges you're looking at. And I'm going to give you a personalized strategy of how to get financial aid, regardless of how much money you make, regardless of what your circumstances are, because everybody can qualify. And I'm going to help you do that. So you can get help if you want the help. Go to our homepage and select whatever is right for you. All right. If you've got any questions, you can also ask right here, right now. Just drop it in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer them. Or we're going to continue monitoring for comments even after the live cast ends, and then we'll be getting back to you. And I suppose one more thing I should mention to you is this: if you're not sure what you need, like you don't know, do you need the financial aid consult? Do you need the strategy call, or do you need the financial aid audit, or do you need the loans checklist? Like you just don't know exactly where to start. The only thing you know is that you've got a kid who's going to go to college and you're going to need money. If you know those two things, but you don't know where to start, I always offer a free and complimentary 15-minute consult to everybody. Your first 15 minutes are absolutely always free. So if you want some help, just drop free consult in the comments below, and we'll send you a link to schedule that. And in those 15 minutes, I'll definitely be able to help you figure out where you should start and what you should do next in order to make sure that by the time your student applies to college, you're going to know exactly where to get the money to pay for it. So I think that's pretty much it. I think I went over a lot of information. If you've got questions, drop them in the comments below. If this is helpful, give me the thumbs up so I know that it's helpful. Share with your friends, and good luck to you all. I'll talk to you next week. We'll take another topic, we'll pull it apart, and I'll see you here next Wednesday. Until then, wishing you all the best. Good luck, and we'll talk soon. Thanks for watching.